Are you learning English but find it difficult, confusing, even mysterious? Are you an English teacher but find English grammar easier to use than to explain? Well, don't worry. On this show, I'll be your language detective. I'll answer your questions about the English language and help you solve these English mysteries. It's Hard-Boiled English Live. Hello, language learners and everyone else who's watching. Welcome to Hard-Boiled English Live, streaming to you from Vancouver, Canada, to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and VK in Russia. Welcome to the show. I'm Paul Duke, your host, English instructor, coach, and language detective. On this show, I answer your questions about the English language right here, live. So, on this show, bring your English mysteries, and together we'll solve them. Now, the format of this show is simple. You can ask questions in the comment thread, and I'll do my best to answer them. Also, you can connect with me on social media at Hardboiled English, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you can send me questions there during the week so that I have questions in hand when the show airs live. Now, for those of you who don't know me already, I am the creator of the YouTube channel, Teacher Paul's Hardboiled English. And on that channel, you can see live recordings of this show every week. So if you want to review the show, you can. And also, you can find my main series, which I make with my students. It's called English Weirdness. English Weirdness is a long-form investigation, kind of like a little detective movie, where we investigate some confusing parts of English grammar. Things that really get in the way of learning because they're confusing, contradictory, or irregular. There are now 9 episodes, and there's a 10th one on the way to finish the season. There's also another series called English Confidential, and in that series, I explore some of the ways native English speakers mess up the language. And this is important because when you're learning a language, it's natural to follow native English speakers on TV or my show, for example, and imitate them. But what if they're saying strange expressions in English that don't make sense, or just using the language, inaccurately themselves? This can lead to bad habits. And when I say bad habits, I'm talking about miscommunication. Okay? Now, once a week, recently, I've been hosting a brand new project called the Conversation Cafe. And the Conversation Cafe is weekly. Now, we've been doing it Thursday morning, but I'm thinking about moving it on Wednesday. So look for this promotion poster on social media on Monday. On Monday, I'll announce the time. And this is a Zoom meeting where we all get together and you can practice your English and talk to new friends from around the world. So far, we've had a good turnout. So look for this poster on social media, and you do have to register. Now, it's completely free. I don't want you to pay for it, but you do have to register and sign up so I know how many people are joining. Okay, so that's the weekly Conversation Cafe. So to start with, guys, what I'd like you to do is say hello in the comment thread and tell me what country you're watching from. I always like to see everyone and especially learn where you're watching from. So far, I want to say hello to Chris. She's from Belgium. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining again. We have Bargain Betty 99, who lives on the moon, where I think you can find a lot of bargains. I'm not sure. One of these days, we'll have to interview Bargain Betty and find out exactly what kind of bargains she finds on the moon, because I don't know. Who else do we have with us? We have Roni is with us. Hello, teacher. How are you? Roni, I'm fine, and I'm happy to see you. How are you, Roni? You tell me. And Bargain Betty, how's the weather on the moon? What's the weather forecast for the moon's weekend? Please tell me in the comment thread. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, Roni is in Bangladesh, right, Roni? Bangladesh is pretty far away from Canada, where I am, and it's pretty far away from Belgium, where Chris is. So it's always great to find out where you're all from. And of course, we're all far from the moon, so Bargain Betty is really far away. They must have good Wi-Fi on the moon. We also have joining us, here's a longer name, so please give me a moment to get this right, hopefully. N. Arufuddin bin Abdullah. Greetings from Malaysia. Welcome to the show. Hopefully I said your name correctly. N. Arifuddin bin Abdullah. Welcome to the show. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. I think this is your first time. It's pretty chilly on the moon. Yeah, that's a problem, right? The air is thin. But is this an unusually chilly weekend you're looking forward to? Who else do we have with us? Say hello in the comment thread, please, guys, and tell me what country you're watching from. Now, to start the show, we're going to introduce our word of the day. I like to always introduce a new piece of vocabulary that you can use. And tonight's word of the day is practical. Now, practical is an adjective, so it needs to describe another noun. And it has generally two usages, two meanings. One is something connected to real situations, not abstract ideas or theories. Okay? So something that we can really use in real life, in our physical world. And the second meaning, and it's not too different, it is connected, is something that's useful or sensible in a certain situation. So what could be useful? Well, for example, words. Words can be useful, or maybe you don't need them. So, for example, if you're just learning English and you want to learn how to order coffee at Starbucks, you don't need a word like extemporaneous. That's a fancy academic word. It's important in academics, but it's not important for ordering a coffee. So it's not practical. A practical word, ordering coffee, might be something like please. It's important to say please. So we could say please is a practical word. Okay? It's a practical word. It's useful, right? It's sensible in the context of a cafe. Sorry, guys, I'm disoriented here. Something else that might be practical is like, let me think here. Well, reading is a good skill in any language, reading in English, reading in Swahili, reading in Korean, whatever your language is. It's important to be able to read. It's practical, right? You can use that skill. Now, it's not just for learning fancy topics. Reading is for when you buy a product and you want to understand how to use it. You need to read the instructions. So reading is a practical skill, right? Practical skill. I'll give you another example of a not practical or impractical skill. When I was young, I studied a lot of math. Well, in my daily life, I don't really use math. So math was abstract knowledge. It wasn't really connected to my real situations. Now, I'm not an engineer. I'm an English teacher, a video maker, a writer. I don't use math a lot, right? An engineer does. So if your real situation is engineering, yes, math is practical. You use it in real situations like designing a house or a bridge. But for an English teacher, it's not practical. Okay? So guys, what I'd like you to do now is I want you to try using this word in a sentence and write your sentence in the comment thread, okay? Try to use this adjective to describe something, a noun. Practical skill, practical word. Maybe this pen is practical because I can use it. It's useful or sensible for writing on the whiteboard, right? So let me see an example that you try, okay? In the meantime, I'll say hello to Malu. Hello, Malu. And Malu, I think, is in Brazil, right? We also have Nahid bin Siddiq from Bangladesh. Thank you for watching. And yes, Roni says I'm from Bangladesh. Yes, several viewers from Bangladesh. It's interesting, guys. You know, every week, several of you guys from Bangladesh are watching the show. I think Bangladesh is our #1 fans. Bangladesh country has the most fans for our show. It's great. I never would have expected it, but it's fantastic. So I appreciate it. Okay, give me a sentence, guys. Try a sentence using the word practical. Why? Because practical is a practical word. It's very common to use. It's very useful. So, like when you're discussing something at work or with your friends, some new idea, they might say something like, you know, guys, I think we need to save the world. We have to save the planet. That's a great idea, but it's not practical. What can I do to save the planet? Well, I can recycle my garbage, recycle my paper. I use a lot of paper. I can recycle. That's practical. That's something I can do physically. But just save the world, that's too abstract. It's too much of an idea, right? It's a theory or an idea. I need something practical that I can practice in real life, something I can do. So let's see your examples, guys. Try to use this word. Okay, Chris says, live streaming is a practical way to engage the members in a Facebook group. Absolutely. Great sentence. It's a practical way. And in this way, this use, I think Chris means way like a method or technique. It's a practical technique or method or way to engage the members. Yes, it is. Very much so. It's something you can do, right? Like we want to engage our members, but saying to yourself, oh, I want to engage members in my group, that's an idea. It's an abstract idea. Live streaming to connect with them, that's practical. That's something you can actually do. Okay, Roni, I do have your question. And I'm going to get to that shortly. Do you have a sentence using practical? Anyone else have an idea or an example they want to try? Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Practical is a very practical word. That's for sure. What else can I give you as an example? Well, something like this. This little toy moose is a souvenir, a Canada souvenir. But it's not that practical. I mean, there's not a lot I can do with it. I like to use it to demonstrate its movement. I like to use it to demonstrate certain expressions and certain grammar in English, but it's not that practical. I can't do much with it. I can't, open the car with it. I can't drive a car with it. I can't, I don't know. I can't comb my hair with it. I can't use it to eat. I can't really use it for much other than it's a souvenir, it's cute, and maybe I can use it. It's practical for demonstrating that movement. Chris has another example here. Can we see Chris's example? I want to make a practical guide to give away in my live shows. Okay, guide, practical guide, a useful guide, right? Something that somebody can use in a real situation. We have Wako's example. Wako says, it's not practical to eat yogurt with chopsticks. That's right. Chopsticks are very practical for eating solids, right? Pieces of meat, pieces of fish, rice. It's not very good for eating liquidy things, things that are semi-liquid, and yogurt is semi-liquid. Not as much as water, but it does move like a liquid. So chopsticks are not practical for that situation. Malu's got an example here. It's more practical to read PDFs on the cell phone. Okay, good. So reading PDFs is the practical action. Okay, saying hello also, guys. Who else is joining us now? We have Borislav. Boris, welcome. Thank you for the lovely conversation this morning. That was nice. We also have Tapan. Tapan, welcome to the show. I think Tapan is from Bangladesh. I'm not sure. Oh, Tapan's got a question. Maybe we can answer this after word of the day. Anyone else joining us? We should say hello. Okay. Let's put that up. So Robin Cardillo says, my eyesight is so poor, I am practically blind. Okay, good. So this is using practically as an adverb or an intensifier to describe the adjective blind. So blind is an adjective, and to intensify the adjective or modify it, we can use adverbs like practically. So practically blind, meaning her vision is not useful. So measuring your blindness, a doctor might measure it and say, you're not blind. But if you cannot see, if you can't use your vision, if your vision is not useful because it's not strong enough, you're practically blind in terms of using it. Roni says, your practical knowledge of grammar can ensure to use language properly. Okay, good. Good. Practical knowledge, right? Knowledge is great to have, but if you can't use it, what's the point, right? We want to use our knowledge. Even if we don't practice it, okay, I have knowledge about English language, some, and I use it to help others develop their English. So I share it. That's the practical use of it. So very good. Okay, let's clear that away. We've got a lot to get to tonight, guys. I've already got a few questions, including a couple here. So I received a question earlier today about how can I use expressions like more importantly. So I believe this was Roni. Roni is wondering, how can I use expressions like more importantly and in fact to connect ideas? So I'm going to focus on those, but they also connect to a couple of other topics. So now these are connectors. They connect one idea to another idea. And generally you use them as two separate sentences. When you have sentence number one, and then a period, and then sentence number two, there are two possibilities. One, you're starting a new idea, totally fresh new idea. That's one possibility. The other possibility is the second sentence is connected to the first. Somehow they're related. So these connector words tell us that the second sentence is related to the last one. And in what way? Okay, so let's look at more importantly. You might try this, okay? Like dogs are cute. Period. Dogs are cute. So that's good information. That's a nice thing to know. Dogs are cute. More importantly, so we're starting the sentence, and this expression tells me that something is coming, a second sentence, and that second sentence is related to this. There's a connection. So you say, more importantly, comma, if you're writing, more importantly, dogs teach us about love. So when children have a pet dog, they learn about love because dogs love you and you love them. They need your care. So which of these ideas is more important? They teach us about love. That seems very important in life. Or they're cute. What's more important? They're related because they're both about dogs. But I think the idea here is that it's true that dogs are cute. However, there's another idea that's more important, this one. So that's how you connect them. You have two ideas that are both good. That's why you wrote them. But the second one is more important than the first one. So you're comparing them. You're saying, here's two ideas. Dogs are cute. They teach us about love. Two things about dogs. But the second one is more important than that one. Okay? That's how you use more importantly. I have fun doing this live show every week. It's fun for me. More importantly, I hope it's practical and useful for you guys. I do this to help you. Okay? That's why I do it. That's more important to me than I have fun. Sometimes the show is hard. It's hard work. It's hot in here, right? Sometimes I'm moving around. It's hard work. Sometimes I can't say it's super fun. It's fun, but not super fun. But it's more important if it helps you. So I like doing the live show every week. I love it. It's fun. However, more importantly, I think it's helpful, or I hope it's helpful. Okay? So that's more importantly. In fact, let's look at in fact. Dogs are popular. Dogs are popular. They're popular pets. So that's a statement. Okay? They are popular pets. That's an adjective. That's my opinion. I think they're popular. What if I have evidence? Okay? This is an opinion. This is my opinion about pets. I think they're popular. Yeah, it's my opinion. They seem popular. But if I want to introduce evidence, I can say this. In fact, dogs are sorry guys, let me just think of some example. Dogs are 70% more popular than cats. Okay? So if you have some specific data or evidence, that's a scientific fact that you read about. It's research. It's resulting from a study. So that is a fact. It's not an opinion. This is an opinion. Let's make it even more of an opinion. Dogs are nice pets. So nice is an adjective, but it's an opinion adjective. I think they're nice. Someone else might think they're not. So dogs are nice pets. Okay, it's in my opinion. I want to add fact to my opinion. So I'm going to introduce a fact. In fact, dogs are 70% more popular than cats. And cats are the number 2 more popular pet. So when you want to introduce a fact, you say, in fact. So what's the relationship here, Roni? Well, the relationship is opinion and fact. And the fact supports the opinion. Okay? Here's another one. I like pizza. I like pizza. That's my opinion. It's just how I feel about pizza. In fact, I eat pizza at least once a month. That's a fact. You can measure that. You can count how many pizza boxes there are. Okay? So you introduce a fact with in fact. Now, I'm going to warn you guys. There are a lot of people, native speakers included, who say, in fact, and they don't introduce a fact. They just add more opinion. That's not really how you're supposed to use that word. When you say in fact, people are expecting a fact, not just more opinion, right? If you want to just add more opinion, you can say in addition or moreover, and then add your idea. When you say in fact, people are expecting you to present a fact. So what if you said, oh, I have lots of these cloths. I have lots of them. Lots is pretty vague. It's my opinion. But then I can say, in fact, I have 3. That's the number. The number is a fact. So in fact, I actually only have 3. So that's how you use that, to introduce a fact. Now, Roni, I'm going to continue and move this talk about connectors because I received another question about connectors, and I think the two topics are connected. So hopefully that answers that specific question. But let's look at a few other famous connectors. Very, very useful, very practical. And let's see how they work. So somebody asked me about although and though and even though. So let's bring that one up. So somebody asked me although, though, and even. And they said, don't these words mean the same thing? It's a good question. So what are these words and how do we use them? These words are basically they're adverbs, or sometimes we call them subordinating conjunctions, because they connect an independent clause or a sentence that you can say on its own with a dependent clause, something that needs the independent clause to make a full meaning. Okay. And importantly, the meaning of these words is all related. Okay. The meaning is similar. The meaning is contrast between positive and negative, or negative and positive, right? For example, although it's raining, negative, comma, I'm going for a walk, positive, right? Contrasting negative with positive, or normal with weird, right? Which you could think of as positive and negative. Normal, I eat food every day. That's pretty normal. Although I eat food every day, positive. Sometimes I eat the same dish 3 or 4 times a day. That's not normal. That's weird. So you can contrast anything positive and negative, or negative and positive. So the meaning of all those words is similar. You're contrasting something. Where they work in the sentence is what's different. So let's look at some examples. Although I like pizza, comma, although I like pizza, comma. Now that seems positive, right? Paul likes pizza. That seems okay. Although I like pizza, I don't eat it often. So this is negative. I like it, but I don't eat it often. Why? Well, I don't want to get too overweight. You know, pizza is a lot of calories. So I have to be careful. Plus, you know, I don't want to spend a fortune on pizza. So positive, I like it. Negative, I don't eat it a lot. Although I like it. So if you're writing this sentence, guys, I see a lot of times people put a comma here. Although I like pizza, I don't eat it. No, this is not where the comma goes. In writing, the comma goes here because that is a dependent clause or a subordinating clause, and that's your independent clause. Now, we could also use the word though. We could also use the word even though to start this sentence. Those are all fine in the first position. And no comma, okay? And by the way, guys, when you say even though, you have to say even though. I hear a lot of my students and learners saying even I like pizza, I don't eat it often. That doesn't work. When the word even is alone, it has a different meaning. It means equal. For example, in a sports game, if the score is 5-5, we say the score is even, equal measurement. So don't say even I like pizza. Say even though I like pizza, I don't eat it often. Even though dogs are cute, I don't have a dog. Positive or negative. But we can also do negative and positive. Although I don't have a dog, I really like them. So negative to positive. That doesn't matter. What matters is this is one clause, comma, that's the other clause. Okay? Now, we can put these words in the middle position. We can say, even though I like pizza, even though I don't eat it often. I like pizza, comma, although I don't eat it often. I like pizza, though I don't eat it often. Okay? Now, there's one word of these three that we can use in a different way. Okay? And the word is though. And this is a great question someone asked me once. They said, teacher, I'm in Canada and I keep hearing people say though at the end of a sentence. Why is it at the end of the sentence? And you might see little memes going around like, those shoes though, on Instagram or something. Those shoes though. That's just slang. And it's actually kind of silly. How do we use that then? And what is it that people are hearing that makes sense? What if someone heard, I never eat it though? So someone says, person B says, I never eat it though. I never eat pizza though. Those at the end. Well, I just told you that we use though to contrast positive and negative, or negative and positive. But when we hear this, there's no contrast. I never eat it though. That's only one clause. People do this, contrast one clause with another one in speech, like this. Don't forget, this sentence is not alone in a conversation. In a conversation, another person is saying things. So let's say person A says, you like pizza so much, right? Positive. You like pizza so much. So that's one clause. And the other person finishes the idea with the contrast. They say, yeah, but I never eat it though. Right? So this though tells us that this clause is contrasting what the other person said. Right? Like one friend says, hey, let's go to that new restaurant. The other person says, oh, it's expensive though. Right? They're saying, maybe it's not a great idea. So when you use it at the end of the sentence, it's to contrast someone else's sentence. That's where you hear that. So when you hear a native speaker saying, I never eat it though, or that place is too expensive though, or I'm tired though, whatever, they're contrasting what the other person said. So it still follows the same rules, right? It's contrasting these two sentences, right? So hopefully that clears that up. In the meantime, I'm going to wipe the board, and I have a question for you guys. Let's pop this one up. I want to know what new words you have learned recently. So I introduced practical today. I want you to write in the comment thread some new words that you've learned recently. We're going to do this every week because I want you guys to keep learning. Don't just watch my show and learn. Learn during the week too. So I want you to share with me some of the new words you've learned. And it could be from anywhere, from TV, from movies, from reading a book, or from a friend. So guys, in the comment thread, type me some words that you have learned recently. Okay? Teach me something. And we'll have a look at some of these words and we'll share them with everyone else. This way, we can all share what we're learning and help each other expand our vocabulary. In the meantime, I'll say hi to a few new folks joining us. I see Joseph has joined us. Joseph, what country are you in? I also see Leonora, hopefully I'm saying that right. Hi, Paul, which is correct? I saw it in the registration form. I saw it on the register, on the form, because we use on to talk about surfaces, like on the internet, because it's a screen. I don't go in the internet. I'm just looking at a screen. Surfaces, flat surfaces, like the floor. I'm on the floor. I'm looking at you on the screen. I have a picture on the wall. A form is a document, so it's flat. So you should say, I saw it on the form, right? Because essentially a form is a document. We also have Pony joining us. Welcome to the show, Pony. Thanks for joining us. Pony is in Mexico, I think, Veracruz. Welcome to the show. And Lenora is from Fils. Where is Fils? Philippines? I don't remember. Anyway, welcome to the show. Yeah, Pony says he's from, yeah, I thought so, Lenora. Thank you, Philippines. Pony says he's from Minatishan. I can't pronounce that right. Minatishan. So Chris has a new word, oblong. That's a good word, oblong. Oblong is an adjective, an oblong box, for example. Like this box is oblong. It's not equal measurement sides. I think that's the definition. Saying hello to Yoshie. Yoshie is joining us. Thank you for joining us. Where are you watching from, Yoshie? Are you in Japan? Is anyone else that I miss? I want to say hello to everyone. Joseph, where are you watching from? I saw Tapan, Roni, Boris. Yeah, great. Okay. So guys, tell me what words you've learned. I want to learn some words from you. What new words have you learned recently? I'm going to ask you every week because I want you guys to keep learning new words. English has a very huge vocabulary. There's a lot to learn. Okay, Yoshie is from Japan. I thought so. Great. What city in Japan are you from, Yoshie? Where are you watching from? What city? And tell me what new words you've learned. So Chris says she's learned the word oblong. That's a great word. It's kind of funny sounding too. I always like that word, oblong. Tell me what words you've learned recently. Teach me some words. I'll put them on the board. You have oblong. And if you don't know these words, guys, you should write them down and then check them out in the dictionary. We always want to be learning new words. Joining the show, we have Etz, teacher Etz from Japan. Welcome to the show, Etz. Nice to see you. We're just reviewing some words we've learned recently, Etz. Have you learned some new English words recently? Or maybe some of your students have? Let's hear some new vocabulary, guys. What have you learned? We have one so far. We have oblong. Any other words? Yoshie lives in Tokyo. Okay, nice. Hopefully you're staying safe, getting vaccinated as soon as you can. Hopefully the Olympics goes well. Let's pop up Tapan's question. Tapan's asking, what would have happened if the bridge... complete the sentence. So this is what we call a third conditional. And with third conditional, we're talking about a hypothetical, unreal situation in the past. And we use two different grammars in two different clauses. The first one is present perfect. So we have what would have happened. So this is question structure. If the bridge, and then we need past perfect. So if the bridge had, fallen down or collapsed. Or if the bridge had charged money, charged a fee, whatever. The grammar needs to be past perfect, past perfect, past perfect, right? Because this action is hypothetical in the past. What would have happened if the bridge had collapsed? So maybe I was driving my car on the bridge, right? And there was an earthquake. And then it stopped and I escaped. So I was safe. But I think what is also possible? What would have happened if the bridge had collapsed, right? So with a third conditional, you need present perfect in one clause and then past perfect in the other, right? What would have happened if I had studied more in high school? We'll never know because I didn't study a lot in high school, actually, guys. I was a bad student. Joining the show, we also have Ignacio Rojas. And Ignacio is from Chile, as I recall. Are you in Chile right now, Ignacio? Ignacio has joined the show before. Ignacio, I'm going to ask you this question. What new English vocabulary have you learned? So far, one of our viewers has shared this word with us, oblong. Pony is saying, oh, tantrum. Now, I'm not sure I know this word unless you mean tantrum. Tantrum. And a tantrum is like when a baby is really mad. Mommy, mommy, mommy. Right? When they're really upset and they don't know how to communicate it, so they just scream and yell. That's a tantrum. Right? Sometimes adults have tantrums when they're really upset. But you need an N in there. Tantrum. Tatrum? I don't know. So maybe we need to double check that. Ignacio is asking me, how have you been? I've been fine. We have another word, Warcraft. Now this has two meanings. If it's a capital letter, that's a proper noun, then that's the name of something. And I believe it's a video game, right? Warcraft. If it's not a capital letter, then you're just talking about the craft of making war. So what are the craft or skills involved with war? Well, you might think of the soldier's skill in shooting, the general's skill or craft in organizing a war, all of those skills that are used in war. But it's also the name of a video game, I think. World of Warcraft? I'm not sure. Warcraft is the skills of war. Tantrum, yes, okay. Perfect. So that's a good word, tantrum. And sometimes we call it a temper tantrum. So temper means mood, usually a negative mood. So when your negative mood takes over the baby and the baby screams and yells. What else do we have here? A deer, yes. Deer is a very cute animal, right? And Aya, in our last conversation cafe, Chris was there and Aya was there. And Aya was talking about her hometown in Nara. And in Nara, there's a very famous shrine with hundreds of deer in the park. And they're very friendly and they even bow. They're really cute. I've actually seen it. Very friendly deer. It's that animal like, I don't know how to describe a deer. I'll bring a picture next time, guys. We also have Nelba joining us. Thank you for joining us, Nelba. I recently learned crikey from Murdoch Mysteries. Yes, crikey is an interesting word. Now, crikey is a British slang. Now, in Canada, we're influenced by British culture, so actually a lot of Canadians use this too. Americans don't. What does it mean? Well, it means it's an exclamation, so people say it when they're angry or surprised. Crikey! This is where it comes from, Nelba. It comes from the word Christ, meaning Jesus Christ, Jesus Cristo. People don't want to use that name when they're angry, so over time they changed it to meaning crikey. Basically, and some people use this name when they're angry or upset or surprised, but it's a little bit rude to those people who are religious and respect that name a lot, right? So over time it evolved to crikey, right? But that's really where it comes from. It's a more polite way of that meaning. And when people say these words, when they're upset or surprised, they're kind of calling to their God. Like, Jesus Christ, the God, I can't believe this just happened. Right? So it's a way of expressing surprise. I would go with crikey. It's a little bit rude to say this in that way. But that's where it comes from. Crikey. Wow. I usually say wow, right? But sometimes I say crikey. Tirath has joined us. Tirath from Nepal, very far from where I am, but Tirath manages to watch the show every week. Thanks for joining us. Tackard. Okay, Lenora says tackard. Great word. Nelba's saying, it seems like gosh. Yeah, exactly. We have all these words that we use to express surprise. And in a country like Canada, for example, it's a secular country, which means you're free to follow any religion you want, including no religion, right? So it's not really a religious country. So over time, people who are not religious, well, let's go back in time. In the old days, everyone was religious. All the Europeans were religious. Even the early Canadians were very religious. And they said these words like Christ. And as society changed, they wanted non-religious ways of saying the same things. So gosh, oh my gosh, actually comes from the word God. When people were surprised or really amazed, they would say, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like they're expressing surprise to their God. Well, if you're not religious, you shouldn't be saying that. So instead, non-religious people came up with changes to the word like gosh, right? So Christ became crikey and God became gosh. So if you're not religious, it's probably better to say gosh out of respect for the people that are religious. Okay, Ignacio, yes, is in Chile and he learned stress laxing. This sounds like a slang word. Meaning relaxing from stress, but that's not really different from the word relaxing. We relax when we feel stress or fatigue, but this is a new combination, right? It's kind of in the culture right now. What else do we have here? We have commitment. Borislav is saying, I'd like to ask you to provide an explanation to a word commitment. Okay. Well, commitment is a noun, and it means to dedicate or to promise something to someone or something. So a commitment is like a contract, an agreement. So for example, I started making this live show, and I have a commitment. My commitment is every week I'll do this live show. I have made that contract with you guys. If you come and watch my show, I will present the show for you. That's our kind of unspoken agreement. So that is my commitment. Even if I'm tired, even if I get invited to a party, I'm going to say no to that. Because I have a commitment to the show. So I have made a promise or an agreement or a contract, right? We could also say, I have a commitment to the act of helping people learn English. I spend a lot of time working on this. I do this for my job. I do this on the show. I do this in videos. I have a commitment to it. I didn't just do it once, help someone with English once, and then, I'm going to change my mind. I have a commitment. It's an agreement or a contract to do something. Okay? And you could describe someone as committed to that action or process. So a commitment is basically another way to say an agreement or just a promise. Like an agreement involves two sides, two people or two groups, but a promise can just involve one. For example, in the case of my live show, it's really a promise because you didn't agree to watch my show. You can choose whatever you want, but I promise to bring my live show every week, right? That's my commitment to you. I said I'm going to do it, and I do it. So I show my commitment through my action. That's a great word. What else do we have? Oh, Ignacio. I think the spelling might be off. Can you just check the dictionary, Ignacio? I think it might be... I think it might be that with an A. It depends if that's the adjective or the noun. When we have the word phile, P-H-I-L-E, that makes it a noun. So an apocryphile is a person. But apocryphal, or it might even be like this. It might even be apocryphal. We're going to get my research team on that right away. Also want to say hello. I just see Syed Hirade Hirade joining the show. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Okay, so we have a pa. Okay, here's where I made the mistake. Apocryphal, right? So it means doubtful authenticity. Also, for example, a lot of people in the world right now are saying bad things about the COVID vaccine. They're saying, oh, they're going to put microchips and spying technology in the vaccine. That's doubtful authenticity. I don't think that's accurate or true. So those statements are apocryphal, right? They're apocryphal. People are saying them, doesn't mean it's true. In fact, they're of very doubtful authenticity. Great word, Ignacio. Thank you for adding that. But yeah, check the spelling. It's apocryphal, and it's an adjective. Apocryphal information, right? Be careful, guys. Social media is full of apocryphal information. You have to doubt it. You have to check it, test it. Oh, Nelba, that's interesting. A person who loves sunset. Can we see that? Yeah, file means person. Can I see? So, do we have a definition? A person who loves sunset. Okay, so sorry, Ignacio, I maybe understood you wrong. How do we spell that again? We put the graphic up of Ignacio's word. Apocryphal. Okay, so Ignacio, this word is a person who loves sunset. Okay, good. And that's the word you meant. Sorry, I thought you were meaning apocryphal. Okay, I learned a new word. I've never heard this word before. Apocryphal. Someone who loves sunsets. Very, very cute. Yeah, amazing. I didn't know that word. And it is English. It's the English translated from probably the Greek or Latin. Fantastic. Yeah. Are you one of these people, Nelba? Are you a opacrophile? Ignacio, how about you? Do you love sunsets? I'm not one of these people, actually. Sunsets don't get me excited. Sunrises get me excited. I love mornings. So the sun coming up in the morning really makes me happy. I really like that. Okay, Ignacio, thank you. I won't worry about it. Nelba says, never imagined that existed. Okay, amazing. Very interesting, guys. Very interesting. So I've learned some new words from you guys today, some really interesting stuff. And hopefully you guys have shared your own knowledge with each other and learned some new words. I think we're almost out of time. So let's save that one. So guys, I think that's all the time we have for the show. So I'd like to say thank you. And I'd like to just say thank you specifically to everyone who's watched the show. So here we go with the master list. Thank you to Chris from Belgium, Betty from the Moon, Roni from Bangladesh, N. Arifuddin, I think, from Malaysia, Malu from Brazil, Robin, I think Robin's in Toronto, Nahid from Bangladesh, Tapan, I think from Bangladesh, but I'm not sure, Tapan. Boris is in Ukraine. Joseph, I didn't find out where you're from. So Boris, wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us. Sorry, not Boris, Joseph. thank you for joining us. I don't know where you are. Lenora is in the Philippines. Lenora, thank you. Pony is in Mexico. Thank you for joining us, Pony. Yoshie is in Tokyo, Japan. Thanks for joining us. Ets is in Japan also. Thank you for joining us. My friend Ignacio, who gave us a really fascinating word, is in Chile. Thanks for joining us, Ignacio. Always great to see you again. Nelba? Nelba? Where are you watching the show from, Nelba? Are you in Canada or are you in Venezuela, maybe? I can't remember. You've been on the show before, but nice to see you again. Tirath from Nepal, very far away. Syed from Bangladesh? Where's Syed from? Syed, we don't know. Okay. And the late joiner here, we have... Who just joined? Yoshihige Sakuma. Yoshishige from Japan. Welcome to the show. We're just finishing the show. Yes, Nelba, a Venezuelan in Vancouver, so you're not far away. Thank you very much. Guys, thank you for joining the show. Hopefully you've learned something. We looked at a whole bunch of new vocabulary today. We talked about connectors. And just a reminder, guys, contact me on social media at Hardboiled English. Send me your questions in advance or just ask them on next week's show. Coming up through the summer, I have several shows planned with special guests, so stay tuned for that. Tried to have a special guest on last weekend, but we had some technical problems, so once again, I apologize for that. And we will have that guest on soon. We've just rescheduled. So guys, thank you very much for watching Hardboiled English Live with me, Teacher Paul. It's always a pleasure to meet you, to talk with you, to help you with your English journey. Guys, until I see you next time, keep learning English, keep learning new words, keep asking questions about the language. If you don't understand something, write it down, make a note, bring it to the show, ask me and I will help you. Okay? Until I see you again, guys, stay safe, keep learning, and stay cool.